The main focus of the webinar today will be looking at online teaching. We're going to look at, give you a small bit of background on myself. We'll look at the basics of teaching English online, and then we're going to look at the different type of lifestyles and different ways to be an online teacher almost, okay, and how you can do that and how you can go about doing that. So yeah, I've been teaching myself TEFL for about 7 or 8 years now. So yeah, I love it. I started off with a very basic 120-hour TEFL course, I think in 2013. And I've taught, and I ended up teaching in Malta as part of a placement in college. So that's how I actually got into the whole TEFL industry. I was supposed to go back and do primary school teaching or do my master's, and I never went back. I loved teaching English so much that I decided not to go back and to continue to do this. So I did a CELTA certificate in 2014. Between 2014 and then 2017, I spent time teaching in language schools for kind of longer contracts. In places like Malta, I spent a year, Germany 6 months, Istanbul 6 months, and I've also taught here in Ireland in a language school in Cork and also in a language school in Galway. But then in 2015, I kind of wanted to find a way to kind of travel a bit more, something that allowed me to bit freely travel more, because I was going from country to country with contracts, but that did involve, I suppose, starting up a new life, getting a new apartment, getting your tax sorted, getting all your that kind of stuff, and the longer contracts. So I kind of wanted something a little bit more freer. So I decided to actually start teaching English online in 2015. And at the time now, it was a thing, but it wasn't massive. It wasn't booming like it is now. But yeah, I started in 2015 working for a certain company. So I was their employee. Very successful, loved it, a lot more freedom with it, and it allowed me to kind of travel a bit more freely. In 2017, then I decided to set up my own little company, which I will go on to talk about a little later on in the webinar. And that gave me even more freedom to travel and do what I wanted and kind of travel around. So yeah, that's kind of my story. And then eventually in 2017 and 2018, when I started my own, I actually taught, very grateful to say that I've actually taught in 25 countries around the world teaching English online. So it's amazing. And I've been to places like South America, Fiji, Australia, Bali, Bolivia, Chile, Dubai. So yeah, 25 countries teaching English online. And then I decided to come back home to Ireland for a bit. And that's where I am now, with the TEFL Institute of Ireland, actually kind of continuing my TEFL journey almost again, and kind of giving people the training that I loved so much and that I benefited from so much. So when people say to me on the phone, "Oh, you really sound like you love it," I really do. And it's something that I'm doing for a very long time. And I don't think I'm going to ever not do it. But I also run my online business simultaneously on the side, which I'll go on to in a bit later down, okay, in the webinar. So that's all about me. And I suppose I'm just going to go into now a little bit about the basics of teaching English online. So teaching English online is teaching non-native speakers through the internet, through some kind of device. Okay, it can be, people are doing it with iPads now, people are doing it on their phones. It's just become so accessible, and especially nowadays with tech, you know, the Wi-Fi is great everywhere you go. So it's really, really accessible and easy. Lessons can be one-to-one, they can be group classes, they can be corporate classes, they can be exam classes. Especially in the last year, or well, I suppose 2 years now, however long we've been in this pandemic, but it has really, 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 really boomed. Everything had to go online, and I think people, there's no slowing down anyway, and we can see that from our end here at the TEFL Institute. We thought that maybe after the pandemic, people would start going back to language schools, and, you know, nobody would want to do online anymore, but people, I think, have got this realization that everything can be done online. And there's this sense of, why would I drive an hour for a lesson? Or, you know, it's so much easier. Like, you can just do it from your kitchen, from your bedroom, from wherever you are in the world. So there's no signs of it slowing down anyway, which is a fantastic thing, because it gives everybody access from wherever they are in the world. So yeah, just to give you a bit of kind of background on it, in 2010, an online English learning was worth about 32 billion US dollars. In 2015, it was a $108 billion industry, and it's projected in 2025 that it will be a $325 billion industry. So it's absolutely massive. And it's growing, 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 growing. And we get a lot of questions as well. People think, is it too late to kind of jump on board? Has everybody been becoming online teachers in the last year or two? Have I missed out? Absolutely not. It's continuing to grow. Students are continuing to look for work, for lessons. So no, it's definitely still happening. Okay, so before we go in as well, I suppose a lot of you are probably sitting here and thinking, am I qualified to do online teaching? Do I have the qualifications? Do I meet the requirements? And it's something that often goes through people's heads. So the absolute beauty for me about online teaching is, number one, in some companies you do need to have a degree, but in a lot of them you don't. So it's not holding you back. Do you know what I mean? So you don't need a teaching degree for a lot of them. If you are a fluent speaker and you have a TEFL certificate, you can teach online. Okay. Some companies do require you to have that little bit more qualification, but it isn't the case for all of them. So don't feel like you're disqualified because of that. Other traits, and a big thing I suppose in online teaching, is that you just you're likable and you have a very good energy, and having a good rapport and relationship with your students is really half the battle. And here at the TEFL Institute, we do a lot of recruitment. So we go through the recruitment as recruiters, but also as being in the students' shoes as well, looking for work. And a big thing is that in almost 80% of the companies now online, they're looking for like demo lessons and videos of you. Okay, so even if you don't have the best CV and experience, if you come across as high energy, really good personality in a demo lesson, then it really helps. So I always say to people, my biggest focus for when people are starting to look for work is really have a good minute about me video, is what they kind of call it, and why you want to teach. So I'm Kate and I've been teaching blah blah blah, and what I can bring to the classroom, and this type of testimonial almost about yourself is very important. Okay. And I would almost advise, when you're looking for work, and I will go into that again a bit more down the line, but when you are looking for work, when you're sending off the normal CVs, cover letters like everybody does, go one step further and attach your 30-second video. So here's my CV, here's my cover letter, but I've also attached a 30-second video about myself so you can get to know me a little bit better. That's being ahead of the game already, and the recruiter is going to say, okay, this person really wants this person knows what it's about. Another thing as well is that with online teaching, and when you're looking for work, a lot of companies will also require a demo lesson. So that's kind of you teaching a lesson. Okay, so there's lots of resources. We have resources on our website, but there's also resources on YouTube for demo lessons. Okay, have a good look at those and master one lesson. So they normally ask you to teach to give an example of a lesson that you might teach, so they can kind of see you in action almost. Master one of them, be excellent at it, practice. And there's loads of examples on YouTube, and we have some resources on our website as well to help you with that. Okay. So yeah, the beauty is that everybody is qualified here to teach English online, which is fantastic. And I suppose teaching English online is also an option for people who, let's say there's a lot of people here who might be interested in the Middle East and Dubai, right? And Saudi Arabia, where you make the big bucks, and TEFL, okay? But a lot of people, Dubai are quite strict on their requirements in terms of they require a level 5 TEFL certificate, and they also require a bachelor's degree. So a lot of people are cut out from that straight away, and eliminated from that option. But what a lot of people don't know, what a lot of people don't think about, is another route to go completely is online teaching. You can get a 6-month holiday visa to Dubai. You can get a 3-month holiday, 90-day tourist visa, and there's nothing stopping you living there for up to 6 months and you know, earning your income online as an online teacher. So places where you can't get a working permit or get a visa, don't let that stop you going from that destination, because it's very possible. You know, it might be a shorter contract and you mightn't be entitled to, for example, setting up a life there in terms of like tax and pensions and all that type of thing, but it is very possible to go to your dream destinations. Yeah, okay. So the next thing I'm going to go through is, I suppose, 3 types of way to become an online teacher. And if you have a pen and paper, I'll kind of take things down here because I'll just be mentioning a few things that might be a bit resourceful for you. And I've experienced and done all these 3 things, and yeah, I can go through the kind of the advantages, the disadvantages of each one. Okay, so the way I always try and explain it to people, and as I said, if somebody wants to ask me a question, unmute yourselves and interrupt me, and I'm happy to answer them along the way. Okay, but I would leave time at the end for a Q&A session as well. So there are 3 types of methods or ways that you can get started as an online teacher. The first and the easiest, and what I suggest for people starting out and maybe who've never taught online before, or yeah, if it's new to you, if it's your first year online teaching, is to start off as an employee. And what I mean by that is that there are lots of companies online that you sign up essentially as a full-time job. So it's like you're signing up to a language school that has gone online, meaning you get hired, you sign a contract, you get fixed hours, you get fixed pay, you get your holiday pay, those type of benefits. Okay, so you're signing a contract with a school, but they're online. Now, the advantage to this type of online teaching is that it's very, very well structured. So they provide material, curriculum, training. So you've very, very little preparation to do on your end, and everything's provided to you. And of course, then you have like a good routine. You know, you're working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, blah, blah, blah. So that's being an employee like that. Now, the disadvantage for me when I started out with this type of a job, and what I found is that, and what I think I've learned to appreciate more now, especially during COVID, is the kind of flexibility. I know you can remote work from anywhere in the world, but you can't choose your own hours with that type of online teaching. So you work scheduled hours and you don't set your own schedule. Another little disadvantage about the employee type route is that the pay can vary greatly. Like it can be anything from as low as $7 an hour, to about $25 an hour, depending on your qualifications and your experience. And most require you to have a university degree. So 9 times out of 10, these language teaching online skills, as an employee, you 9 out of 10 times need a university degree for that as well. So if you're interested in that type of a contract and in that type of online teaching, some companies might include things like VIP Kid is a really big one. iTutor are a really big company. Say ABC are another one. And there's another big one called Dada ABC. Now, what I would suggest as well is, even with those big companies, and they say they require a year experience and a degree, always apply, because sometimes there's an influx of students and they will accept people who are a bit exceptional and they mightn't fit for 2 of the requirements, but they have a really good they have a really good introduction video, or they do a really good demo lesson. So I'd apply to everywhere, and that's just me, but don't leave one requirement. Maybe just go off the beaten track and say, I know this isn't the standard way of applying, but I believe I'm good enough to go ahead with the application. I did a really good webinar. They're all on our YouTube channel anyway, but I did a really good webinar on how to kind of prepare for the perfect interview online. So it was all about CVs, cover letters, job interviews, to prepare you for that. So that's a really good YouTube webinar to watch if you get an interview, just to prepare yourself fully and kind of make you stand out from the crowd, because there are plenty of teachers applying at the moment. So just to make yourself that little bit different, And we also have a couple of blogs as well on our website about how to write the perfect TEFL CV and the perfect TEFL cover letter, because there are differences between that and a normal CV and cover letter. So that's the first route, being an employee. Again, as I said, if this is your first time teaching, it's a really good way to go, because you really, really learn from your peers and your colleagues, and the curriculum's given to you, you know, all those little things that make it that little bit more difficult when you're freelance. It's nice. So yeah, I would suggest that if you're a first time teacher. So that's the way you can be an online teacher that way. The second way, and which I did, so I did a year with an online teaching school, similar to that in 2015, and then I decided to move on to be a freelancer English teacher. So this is a little bit different because these are platforms where they connect students and teachers. Okay, so you're still offering your service. Think about it like eBay or Done Deal. You know, you're offering your profile and your services on a platform. So it's a marketplace where students and teachers meet. So this is another little way to do it. The advantages of this type of platform is that you choose your own students, you choose your own hours, and you choose your own wage. Okay, so once you're accepted onto these freelance platforms, you set up your profile, you set your own rate, you set your own pay. I like this because you have more autonomy. You know, you can work on your own schedule, you can set your own hours. Now, some companies will say, okay, you have to set a minimum of 10 hours a week, but the rest is up to you. So depending on how much you want to work. And then normally with those kind of freelance platforms, there's a rating system. So the more lessons you teach, the more stars you get, and the more you move up to the top and top and top and top. So there is a lot of competition with those as well, because you're up against a lot of other tutors. And, you know, there could be 50 tutors that students come on and choose from. And until you start getting lessons, you might have to maybe set your rate a little bit lower, maybe, you know, until you start building your profile up and up and up and up. And there is absolutely no harm in advertising yourself then on your own social media platforms, whatever you use to say, you know, I'm teaching English lessons here, come join me, things like that. So some examples of those type of sites, just to give you there now, if that's the kind of option you want. But the advantages of this, again, is you choose everything, your own students' hours, wage, you kind of work on your own schedule, and it's much easier than finding your own students, because if you go fully on your own, which I will come down to again, finding students is the hardest part. So with a platform like this, you're kind of half your own boss. You know, okay, you do have someone else is paying you and things like that, but you already have the traction, the students coming towards you, so that part is kind of left out. Okay. The disadvantages of a freelance platform like this is that income is not always guaranteed. Of course, you know, you can have busy weeks, you can have quieter weeks, and there's also a lot of competition with other teachers with those. So some companies like this include italki is a big one. TutorMe is another big one. Palfish, which you probably heard about before. And a company that I used to work with and I loved is Fluentify. They're really good. Yeah, so that's another little way of teaching online. And what a lovely option with this one is that with online teaching, you could be working fully with your 9 to 5 job. Like I work here at the TEFL Institute from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But I teach lessons in the morning, I teach them in the evening, and I teach them at the weekend. So I can kind of choose and say, okay, this week I want to set myself for this hours, and this hours. You know, if I want a little bit more cash that weekend or whatever it is, you can do that, right? So it's a lovely little side hustle, I suppose, this freelancing option. With the first option, which I was speaking about, being an employee as part of a language, kind of online language school, you can't really do the whole side hustle thing because you are fully contracted hours and you're fully kind of committed to that role. So So if you're somebody kind of looking just for a bit of part-time work, I would suggest this option, kind of freelance option, because with the online schools, you'll need to commit to a lot more hours if you're already working full-time with a standard job, say, or another job. Okay. And the next option I want to talk about is which I eventually went on to do in 2017, is setting up your own business, okay, and being your own business owner as an online teacher. I did do another webinar on YouTube for starting your own online business. So if this is something that you've thought about, then definitely watch that. It's how to set up your own business online. It's very informative. It kind of gives you all the tools and helping you to start off. So that's really something you can go look at if that's what you would like to do as well. But with the business owner side of things, in this option, you build your own online teaching business and you have full control over every aspect of your professional life. I suppose is what people say, you know, financial freedom, that type of thing. The advantages is that you completely control your hours, your pay, your rates, your classes, everything along those type of lines. A big advantage as well is that you have a higher income because you can really set your own rates and you make full profit. You know, with the freelance, as I was explaining before, the freelance platforms like Palfish or Fluentify, they will always take, if it's a 2 or 3 or 4 euro commission off every lesson you do. Obviously, being a business owner, you have full profits of the lesson, okay, which is lovely. The disadvantages, there might be a higher startup cost, and of course there's a bigger risk of income not being guaranteed, which is the way when you start any business, okay, but that risk is always there. And yeah, that's where I'm at now with the online teaching. And with this option, of course, you can travel around, you can be anywhere, absolutely anywhere in the world and do this wherever you are. So they're the 3 types of way: employee, freelancer, and online teacher. I'm going to run through a little bit of your questions before I move on to the next part, okay? Just because I don't want to skip over them. So how much would you recommend charging? I have the 120-hour TEFL course, but no experience and no English degree, but I'm doing a master's in linguistics. So Joe and Harry, that's an excellent question, because if you are setting up either a freelance, if you're working with a freelance company and you're, you know, creating your own profile, or you're starting your own website or your own business and you're doing it, nobody has to know that you have no degree, okay? You're advertising yourself. It's no one's business that you don't have a degree. If you're an excellent English teacher, then you're an excellent English teacher. So I wouldn't, like, you know, put experience or having no English degree into it. You could have a look. What I would do, and what I normally would think is a great idea, if you're somebody, even in the back of your head, you're thinking about starting your own business or becoming a fully remote online teacher by yourself, still get work with a company like iTutor and Fluentify or Palfish, because you learn so much, and you could even do the 2 simultaneously. You know, even if you can commit to 10 hours on Palfish a week or something like that, at least you're learning from these experts and you can see, oh wait, my competitors charge that, okay, that's how they do that, that's how they schedule lessons, because these are all things that you won't know how to do. And it helped me massively in my first 2 years of online teaching, is that I got jobs with different platforms and I learned, okay, they do that bad, they do that great, I'm going to take that aspect of online teaching and I'm going to steal that, you know. So doing things simultaneously is an excellent idea as well, if you're looking kind of to do freelance, remote and online. And for a lot of you as well, I don't know if anybody wants to put up here, is anybody working in a language school, or is anybody kind of working in a private school, like in person, in classroom? Just let me know. Because another way to advertise yourself, I suppose, essentially is, you know, what people don't realize is teaching online, you can do it all for free. You know, yeah, if you don't have a website at the start, you know, creating a Facebook business page is free. Creating an Instagram business page is free. Creating a LinkedIn business page is free, okay? You advertise that you're an English teacher You don't have to have a website yet, okay? So if you don't have the money to make a website or anything like that, that doesn't matter. You create your own social media presence and create your own like advertising platform, okay? And you can give lessons through Skype, which is free. You can give lessons through Zoom, which is free. You can use a Calendly software to organize your lessons, which is free. Okay, so all these third-party things are free. Okay, and it's very easy to start up with. So yeah, if you do want to kind of start off that way, you can do that as well. If you're somebody already who's kind of living abroad, say you're in France or you're Spain or wherever you are, think about how many non-native speakers are around you, okay, and go old school. Get business cards printed for €100, okay, very simple. Your name, your number, your email, and your Skype address. Go around to schools wherever you are. Go around to local shops. I'm teaching English online. You know, here's my card. All these type of things. This traditional kind of organic marketing can be so effective. And what people don't realize is you don't need a whole lot of money to start online teaching at all. So I'm going to go through another few of your questions before I start ranting off again. Can you have any bachelor's degree or do you need an English degree, Simone? Okay, so for the employee and these websites and the freelance websites where they will actually interview you, say, it's a bachelor's degree in any discipline. It doesn't have to be English, so not to worry about that. Another question there, is it possible to go the employee route but then still have a side hustle for more hours and income? Yeah, absolutely. That's up to yourself. You could get a job with iTutor from 9 to 5, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you doing your own thing, maybe in the evenings or at the weekends, or absolutely not. Just set up a business Skype for yourself, a business profile, and you have that separate entity. Okay. So, Rue, I've seen there are so many course options on your website. Which one is the best for someone who wants to do a freelance and a side hustle? I'll go into that in a second about choosing the right course, okay? Is there any way to get more students when freelancing? So, John, if you don't mind letting me know, are you already with a freelancing website? Or are you talking about completely freelancing by yourself in terms of having your own Skype account and you're just point blank looking for students, or are you with a freelancing platform? Jackie, is it possible to travel while doing the freelancing option? Yes, and this is the whole point of this. For me, this is the whole point of this webinar, is that you can be absolutely anywhere in the world and you can do this. I always tell this story and the girls are sick to death of me saying it in the office because I always bang on about it. And Kevin, I think I told you as well. But anyway, my claim to fame and this story, but it's so true, and it's why I do this, what I do, is I was traveling around, I was in Fiji for a month. I was living in Australia. My sister lived in Melbourne, so I decided to visit her for 6 months and teach a bit of English online and just see the east coast of Australia and things like that. And I decided to go with to Fiji for a month, and I just booked my accommodation in the Airbnb, very cheap. And I don't even ever have to worry about taking holidays. The only time I have to take holidays is for the plane ride, because then I'm set up wherever I am if I have my laptop. So that's one cost. If you don't have a good laptop, actually, that's something I would 100% invest in because it's so worth it. But yes, I was in Fiji and the Wi-Fi is shocking. If anybody has been to Fiji before, the Wi-Fi is really bad. So like if you're staying in a hostel or an Airbnb or a hotel, it's just really bad, the connection and the Wi-Fi in Fiji. So what I did when I went to Fiji was I bought a kind of little router thing, those little dongles that you can put SIM cards into, and you get like €20 credit and like unlimited data. So I think it cost me like €40 for the month, 45. But I just took my dongle with me everywhere. So if I was on an island or wherever I was, I had my laptop, my portable charger, and my little dongle. So I had a really strong Wi-Fi connection. And I could teach from Fiji in a beach hut, and that's no word of a lie. It's unbelievable. It's just that complete freedom that you can be anywhere in the world. I was in Peru, I was in Bolivia doing all this type of thing. And what a lot of I went kind of hostel traveling. And what a lot of them have in South America, which was a really cool thing, was they have like a little HubSpot room. And I think they're starting to do it for like online teachers where you can kind of have a quiet room. It's like a little library. So I used to just go there for my lessons and say I had 4 or 5 lessons in a day and then the day was my own. Amazing. It's insane. Um, Tony, if you set up a business and register in Ireland, do you have to go back to Ireland every year or can you just travel? Tony, I'm set up as a limited company now, and I don't have to be like bar appointments and things like that. I'm actually not sure of that question. If you set up a business and register in Ireland, do you have to go back to Ireland every year or can you just travel? I'm going to be completely truthful here and say I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, there might be a few documents that you have to sign for tax returns and things like that. So now I don't know. A lot of that was done digitally this year, obviously with COVID, because so people couldn't leave 5 kilometers. So what's stopping you leaving the country if you couldn't leave your house? So I would say you're good to go, but I'm not an accountant, so don't quote me on that. So John, you're with Palfish, okay. So yes, with Palfish, I actually know that they actually encourage people to actually advertise for more students yourself. So what I would do, John, sneaky little way to get students, and what I always do is join every Learn English group there is on Facebook and pretend you're the student looking to learn English, right? So they ask you to, well, you know, when you join these groups on Facebook, they ask you like a couple of questions to enter the member group or whatever. So if they ask you, are you looking to learn English? Yes, you are. Are you non-native? Yes, you are, John. You are today. And then there's going to be like plenty of people writing in, oh, where should I learn English? What should I do? And then you can just post the link to your own Palfish and just be like, you know, services offered here for this amount of money, and just paste it in every single forum you know of. That's a free way to get students. Um, yeah, forums are huge on Facebook, especially for learning English. So that's a really good way to get students. As well as I find it's really an inexpensive way. John, if you want to get business cards made up, like Vistaprint are super cheap and they're in Ireland, and you can get like 500 business cards delivered to your door for nothing, practically nothing. And you could just put your name, your email, your Palfish account, and you could basically send it in. You could actually send it in to, like, think about your local area, think about where you are, think about primary school, the amount of non-native speakers there. Think about like, I'm from Cork here, so I like often advertise myself in the refugee centre up in Cork because it's just all non-native speakers. All the communities around, you know, drop your business cards in everywhere. And I do find a lot of it, I know this is a sort of cliche, but tell people you're doing it. Tell people that you're advertising your services, give them business cards. Because there's so much to be said for word of mouth and like traditional marketing and things like that. You know, you're going to know somebody who has a friend, who has a cousin, who has a friend, and reviews. Every time you do a lesson, ask a student for a review, guys, because people are obsessed with them. And get yourself set up on a review platform like Google Reviews or Trustpilot or TEFL course reviews. Just get yourself, or if the Facebook page is often the easiest because I know it's completely free. If you set up your Facebook business page and you have your name and you have your account and things like that, stay motivated with your people, you know, constantly give them informative content, but also ask every single student you have for a review or a testimonial. Because you know yourself, when you go to a restaurant, like I know I look at the reviews straight away these days. Or if you're going to do something or some type of service, you want to know that you can trust it. So it's a really big way to keep students coming back to you, is reviews as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, it's go back to Rue's question about the TEFL course. So if you don't have a TEFL course, my biggest thing, like we have level 3 and we have level 5 courses. If you're looking to teach online, the level isn't too important, because the 120 hour is standard all over the world, and online they're not really asking for level 5 certificates at the moment. If you're going to a language school in Dubai and or Ireland here, they are looking for level 5. But if you're somebody with the 120, then don't worry, that's completely perfect. What I'm more concerned about, or what I would be more concerned about, is your specialist courses. So I don't know what type of courses people are on here or if they're enrolled, but things like teaching business English, teaching IELTS, teaching TOEIC, teaching young learners, teaching online. These are all 30-hour specialist courses that we have on our website, and they are huge, huge, huge if you're trying to look for work online and make more money. Because number one, if you're applying to employees, or you're applying to these schools online, or applying to like freelance companies, if you go there, you send your CV, you send your cover letter, and you send your unreal 30-second testimonial video that you're all going to do after this webinar, and you send them your TEFL qualification, but you also have 4 extra specialist courses. So you're not only qualified in general English, you're actually qualified and licensed to teach in 5 different areas. Okay, and what a lot of companies are looking for, they are looking for specialist teachers, which means teaching business, which means teaching exam English, which is massive at the moment. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the IELTS exam and the TOEIC exam. These are all exams that non-native speakers need to get to Canada or get to America or get their visa or get into college. By you taking these courses, you are qualified to help these students prepare for these exams. So number one, you're a lot more attractive, I suppose, when you're applying for the jobs. But also, if you're working as a freelancer, and this is something to note down as well, you can charge nearly double for a business lesson, or you can charge nearly double for an exam lesson than you would general English. So what I've done myself actually with my own website is I kind of transitioned from general English, but now I'm gone completely corporate and business and exams. So I don't even do general English lessons anymore. Now, if I have somebody who's a friend or like an odd one here and there, I will do general English, but I am completely just doing business now, corporate and exam English. And only because I make so much more money from it in the hour. And I actually prefer the lessons because it's quite structured and I like knowing what I'm doing. And I feel like the lessons go super quick and I really enjoy it. So if you already kind of have your primary TEFL qualification, I'd seriously consider going for the specialist courses as well. And I'd also 1,000,000%, if you don't have the teaching practice course, guys, I think it's €100 at the moment, a bit more, 119. Do that. Having a teaching practice certificate is really good. If you have no experience and you've never done TEFL before, then do the teaching practice certificate, because it is really helpful, because you are kind of in the role. I run the course myself along with another tutor, Michelle, as well, but we do it every so often. It's a 2-day course, and basically you are the student, and you're sitting in the chair of the student. Okay, now there's also a little bit of teaching practice involved, but you really get to learn the style of teaching, and how it is to teach online. Because I know a lot of you, I don't know, even simple things about learning how to, you might think, how am I going to teach English online? I'm used to a classroom environment, and there's a lot of, with TEFL teaching, as most of you know, there's a lot of activities and games and in-person teaching. So you think, how can I put that across online? This course actually shows you all the methods to do that. And I know there's a couple of you here who've already done the course, and I hope I'm right in saying that it's really beneficial. But it really, 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 if you're doing nothing else today, or you're enrolling onto any course, please let it be this one, for your own sake. And there is a 30-minute session at the end of those courses as well, where I or Michelle go through. It's kind of like a little recruitment session where you kind of run through your own profile and ideas for yourself and what to do and things like that. So yeah, I think that's what I would say about what the TEFL Institute can do for you and kind of help you enrolling and moving on. And as well, guys, don't forget that you can book into, you can send an email at any stage and just be like, can we organize a call for a certain time of the day? This is what I'm trying to do. I'm a little lost. And once you're part of the student alumni here at the TEFL Institute, it's a service that we offer, and we're more than happy to kind of help you guys. I can't guarantee you a job, but I can definitely kind of help you and guide you in the right direction and let you know what would suit you. Just a little example on business English. I spent 6 months in Germany, and there was a school that I applied to, and it's a really big business school around the world. It's called Berlitz. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's a really big language school all over the world, but they are primarily focused on business English, and it was something I didn't know before. But I applied to the school, I had my TEFL qualification, I had my degree, blah, blah, blah. Had my smile going in there, but I didn't get the job, unfortunately, because they really wanted business qualifications. So it's something I wasn't aware of before, that it was even a thing to kind of have an extra specialist course. So I went away and did my business course then. But yeah, they're 30-hour kind of snippet courses that really kind of help you get ahead of the game. If anybody is here, okay, Patrick, that's no bother. I just saw your message. Thanks a million. If anybody here is a business student, or not business student, sorry, has a business background. So if anybody has been in the corporate world or has any kind of experience in business and kind of wants to combine the two, excellent way to go. If you're looking to teach online, Fluentify, and I said it to a couple of people before, they only look for business professionals and a teaching qualification. So you have to have your TEFL qualification, you have to have a business background, and you have to have your business English course as well, the kind of specialist one, and of course you have to have the teaching practice, the virtual teaching practice. But the only reason I say that is because I've worked for them myself, so I have personal experience, and they pay really, really well in comparison to a lot of other companies. So if you are anyway business or corporate, definitely advise you to check them out as well, okay? Fluentify. So thanks, Tanya. I actually didn't see your name. I saw your comment there. That's very sweet, but I actually didn't even see you on the. I didn't see you there, but good to see you and hear you that you're doing good. So yeah, guys, if you want to, it's 45 and I'm still blabbering on. So if anybody kind of wants to throw in a couple of questions there, please do. For a little, I can stay on till 6 if anybody has kind of a little bit more questions they want to ask about different companies or the different routes to go. And just to show you, I'm just going to show you here a little bit about my own website and what I did. How long for the demo lesson? Okay, Bridget. It depends on the company, but we have a really good demo lesson that you can sign up for if you do our salary calculator test on our website. So that's something worth looking into. But normally a demo lesson, I'd send in about like 7 to 9 minutes is the norm for interviews, but some companies might ask you for a second one, or they might have a little bit more specific requirements on that. Rue, how long is the teaching practice course? So the teaching practice course is 10 hours and it's run over 2 days. So it's Wednesday and Thursday evenings, or Saturday and Sunday mornings, or Saturday and Sunday evenings. So it's 2 half days. Okay, so you kind of have to commit to kind of 4 hours each day on your screen. So that's the one. Are references important, Kevin? Yeah, I suppose we can give you a reference letter. Yeah, for sure. So just get on to us and we can organize that for you. Again, kind of just having all your certificates in place. And this is something I say, guys, just speaking of references. Remember, you don't actually have to have been paid to say you have experience, right? So a lot of people think, oh, I've never had paid experience. If you've done voluntary work, or if you've done the teaching practice certificate with the TEFL Institute of Ireland, that's practice. The company you're applying to doesn't need to know that you weren't paid for that teaching experience. Okay, so that's a big thing that people do. Or even if you want to go to a local language school, or you want to go to, like here in Cork, there's like 4 big language schools. In Galway, there's 3. Dublin, they've loads. There is absolutely no harm in you applying to local language schools and getting that experience under your belt and kind of using that in your future applications. Okay. Okay. According to your knowledge, are doing professional studies have 3 certificates to finish? Should I major? So I'm not quite sure, Tanya, what you mean there. If you just want to rephrase the question for me, that'd be great. Daniel, what kind of business course do you recommend? The 30-hour business English course we have on our website is excellent, and that's your qualification for business. Now, bear in mind, you can't use that one unless you have a primary qualification, because the primary qualification is your general one, and these are add-on specialist courses, okay? Okay. Could having 2 employee route jobs cause conflict, or is it possible? Yeah, you do have to check the terms and conditions of each company. I know some people accept it. The freelancer companies are a lot more lenient on that. But if it's with an employee contract, you always have to check that contract, and that'll be a matter of conflict for them. So if you're kind of looking at making 2 streams of income, I'd always go the freelance or starting your own kind of business route. Okay. On module 4 of the 120, teaching further education online and in class for 12 years, have a teaching degree. So you're on module 4 of the 120 hour, you have teaching further ed online and in class for 12 years, have a teaching degree in self-employment. Yeah, so wow, Elaine, that's a lot of experience. Well done, you. I'd probably go, if I were you, I think you'd make more money on a freelance website because of the qualifications that you have. Like, I think with the employee school, they mightn't give you the money you deserve, to be honest. And with the experience you have is what I'm trying to say. You can actually advertise that on the freelance quite freely. So maybe the freelance might be best for you, Elaine. Okay. How would you recommend making lesson plans, or just starting up with self-employment? Joanna, that's something that we go through on the teaching practice course. And there's something that, if you go into it, called the PPP method, and that's all about planning lessons and saving lessons eventually. But a way I would go about it is, if you get a job, for example, as a freelancer, and they say, okay, you can start teaching tomorrow, I would advise buying a set of curriculum books. So pretend you're teaching at a language school, and the ones I love, they're called English File, and you can get them from A1 to C2, so which is beginner to advanced. Just spend the money on these books and get the student book and get the teacher's book, right? Because then you're going to have a set of curriculums at home on the drawer next to you, or wherever you're going, or get them in a PDF version if you're going abroad, or if you're in Fiji, or wherever you are. Just spend the money at the start and make the investment for these curriculum books, because you'll have, with the freelancer routes and starting your own business, you're not going to have the curriculum given to you. So it's well worth getting those curriculum books, and you just follow the structure. The teacher's book are fantastic, right? You get all the answers, you won't be caught out. English File are a great one to go for. I've actually built up my own resource now from all the years of teaching, but eventually you can do that slowly. Elaine, you forgot to say you're 40. I saw there's limits on some countries. Absolutely not. No, you can go wherever you want. Don't let that be a restriction for you. Now, in some countries, I suppose what you're talking about is like that in Vietnam and things like that, to get a working permit, or like in Australia and things like that, you need to be a certain age. But you can definitely go teaching online, Elaine, and go on tourist visas and different type of visas. Just don't, with these companies, remember, you doesn't have to be, you're not looking for a working permit. you're just looking to get into the country. So no, it's not a hindrance. Please can you give the name of the best curriculum books again? Simone, English file, okay? So A1 to C2, A1 being beginner, C2 being advanced, the student and teacher book of each level. Okay. So Martha, sorry, can you please write out the name of the books? Okay, I'm gonna put it here, so maybe I'm not pronouncing it that well, but 1 second there now, I'll just pop it into the chat. So English file, right? Student and teacher book. And if you can get A1 being beginner and C2 being advanced, okay, or proficient, sorry. Okay. Yeah, and with most of the courses as well, guys, we do have resources like lesson planning guides that you can get on the TEFL.ie website that really help you with your lesson planning as well. So those resources are there. Okay. And just to show you a little bit there now as well, that if anybody is looking, sorry guys, now I'm not best at cheek of me, I'm an online teacher, I'm not the best at technology. So that's another good thing. If you feel like you're not great at technology, don't worry. I'm not great and I survive and I do it every day and I make a living off it. So don't let that be a hindrance either, just so you know. We do have it. On that note, we do have a Teaching English Online course, a 30-hour specialist course, but it's more to do with transitioning from the classroom to online. So if you're somebody who might struggle with, for example, Zoom or Skype or techie kind of stuff, that's a lovely little course to kind of transition you from the classroom as well. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen with you here. So this is my little website that I set up in 2017. And just to give you an example, and to be completely truthful with you, it cost me, I paid a digital marketing agency about €1,000 to set it up in 2017. Which I know might seem like a lot of money for a lot of people, but for me, somebody who's not into tech, I needed to pay it and get the professionals to do it. So you can advertise it out with courses, you can set them all up yourself. And just to give you a little bit about how I would change the price. So for general conversation English lesson, for a 30-minute lesson, I would set it about €10 per class, okay, 30 minutes. But then as you go up, you have exam lessons. I do €14 for 30 minutes, so about €28 an hour. The business English go up to 15. So then it's €30 an hour and things like that. And I also then do courses for like advanced teacher training, employment preparation and application lessons, start your own online business lessons and things like that. So there's plenty of kind of niches that you can go into. And if anybody's looking for a little bit of extra teaching practice, I also run those lessons as well here. So to finish things up, guys, if anybody is looking for a little bit more guidance and kind of still a little bit unsure about what route to go, please get in touch with us. You're all sent an email there with the confirmation email. So just get back to us, set up a time, and we can help you there. And I do just want to let everybody know here today, if anybody's interested in doing that teaching practice course that we were talking about, we are giving everybody on the webinar today a €40 voucher for that course. Okay, so it's €119 at the moment, I'm sure, or in dollars. On the TEFL Institute as well, it's a little bit, I'm not sure of the price, but the €40 e-voucher there, if anybody's interested, please come on and even let me know what date you'd like to choose, because I run certain courses and I'd love to see on the dates that I'm doing them as well. And Martha, can you talk a little bit about the TEFL courses online, reputable or not? Do you mean specific TEFL courses or our TEFL courses, or just in general doing an online TEFL course in comparison to doing an in-class course? Because if that's what you are talking about, I know people were a little bit skeptical a couple of years ago about doing an online TEFL course, but the funny thing is that the whole world had to go online 2 years ago, so that's not an argument anymore, really. And all employers will accept online teaching now, or online courses. There are so many for online teaching. Martha, yes, there are. If you want to kind of book in a time with me, I'm happy to kind of run through them with you. Again, I know it's information overload sometimes, but what you have to kind of just think is primary TEFL qualification. Get your primary one, because that's your qualification. That's what you need. Secondary to that, 100% get your teaching practice course in. You need it, get that one in. And then I think about the specialist courses after that, then to kind of upskill and make a little bit more money, and sell yourself a little bit more and kind of go down those routes. So yeah, guys, that's it from me today, and I hope it helped a small bit for everybody. And I will send a follow-up email with a little bit more information on what we kind of went through today. But I suppose the three main points, guys, think if you want to go online teaching, employer route, freelance route, set your own business up route. And speaking from personal experience, and this isn't me just preaching from part of the TEFL Institute here, it is me really saying I absolutely love everything about online teaching, and I would 100,000,000% encourage you all to even take the leap and really try. And even if you're a bit nervous about maybe starting up your own business, or nervous about going freelance, or maybe leaving your 9 to 5, do it. Life is too short. As cliche as that sounds, we've been in our own bubble with outside 5 kilometers for nearly a year and a half now. So it's a great time to go and take the leap and do it, and you will not regret it. And we're here to help you along the way. So as I said, feel free to get in touch in the coming week or anything like that and book in a session. And this webinar will also be up on YouTube in the next couple of days if you kind of want to go over the information. And yeah, thank you very much for everybody who attended, and thank you for listening. So have a good day all. Thank you very much.